Hello, Stampers. This is Barb Reed, the Wexford Stamper, and a happy Tuesday. Hello, April and Renee. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope I can share with you a great Halloween treat box that you'll be able to use. This is a real quick one. Those are the kind I like, especially when you have to make a bunch of them. All right, let's talk a little bit about our box for this evening. This, I call it a peanut butter cup box, but it can really hold anything you'd like. This is how it looks, and you notice it has a little bit of an unusual closure on the top. It has a regular box bottom, but then we fold in the tab on the top to close it up, a little pleat here on the sides, and I have some Reese's Pumpkins and Reese's Bats. These are the fun size. Hello, Deb. Yes, of course. My favorite candy of all times are the Reese's peanut butter cups. And I just also love Take Fives because they have the Reese's and then they have the pretzels in there too. So that's just like an added bonus. So we're going to make a box to hold these two little fun size bars, but actually it could probably hold a lot of the different ones, the Kit Kats, you know, whatever you have. So it's a fun box, and I really like it because it takes a 6x6 sheet that we just have to cut off a little bit. And so you can make 4 of these little boxes with 1 sheet of 12x12. So that is really, really a great deal. So let me show you first, before we get started, what products I'll be using. Now, those of you that have been following along for a while know that I've been using the same ones for every project. This is the Gingham Cottage DSP. Love it. Gingham is a great paper to have on hand, and I love this pack because number 1, there's 48 sheets in there, and number 2, it has colors that will go across all seasons. We're starting here with Halloween and Thanksgiving. We've got ones that'll work for Christmas and Easter, all those good ones. Then we have our stamp set that we've been using, and this is the Scary Cute stamp set. Love this one, think it's so cute. And I love the sentiments. And lastly, we're going to be bringing in some of the great black and white gingham ribbon. This is in the regular annual catalog. This has been a staple in that catalog for quite a long time. Always have the black and white ribbon on hand. You can use that for any season as well. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let me close the box up here. All right, so we're going to start with, I cut my paper into 4 6x6 sheets. Let's take one of those. Okay, I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm just going to trim down one side, take a 1/4 inch off. Okay, so your paper is going to be 6 by 5 3/4. Okay, so you're just going to take that little 1/4 inch sliver off one side, and now we're going to go ahead and bring it in with our trimmer. Hope everybody is having a great day. Lovely fall day today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start on the short side first. And it's kind of hard to decide which is short because they're very close. So you want to double check and make sure you have the 5 3/4 inch side along the top. That's the short side. Okay, hey Anne, we're going to score at 3/4, 3 3/4, 4 3/4. Okay, 3/4, 3 3/4, 4 3/4. All right, now let's turn it on the long side. This is the 6-inch side. Now the piece I picked is the Calypso Coral Gingham, and that's a great color for Halloween. All right, long side, we got 1/2, 1 1/4, 3 1/4, 4. 1/2, 1 1/4, 3 1/4, 4. All right, so let's go ahead and take that scoring tool off my space here, and now I'm going to grab my bone folder and do a little bit of creasing. Now this can be a little tricky to see your lines, so sometimes it helps if you turn it over onto the other side. You can see it a little better. I'm sure it's really hard to see over the video, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold over all my score lines. Okay, anybody have any relatives down in Florida? It looks like it's going to be a dandy. So hope everyone stays safe and gets out of the way, even though they don't want to. That's usually what happens. All right, one more line here. Okay, so there we go. We have all our lines creased. Very hard for you to see, I understand that. Now I'm going to bring in another piece to show you exactly what my template will look like when I'm finished cutting. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to want to start here with the very thinnest 1/2 inch panel along the left hand side. Let me grab my snips. Okay, we are going to cut off the top rectangle here and the bottom rectangle here. You know how we do that with all of them. This 1/2 inch section here is going to be the part where I apply the glue, and that's going to stick on the inside of the opposite side panel. Okay, so that's that. Now you're going to notice there is a shorter side here with only one horizontal panel. This is our bottom. So we're going to cut up all those score lines to the first horizontal score line. So what we're doing is we're loosening and getting apart these little flaps for the bottom of the box. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see. I actually cut one where it wasn't. Let me go ahead and take a piece of tape there. This is very hard to see. Okay, there. I actually cut one that wasn't there. So we want to make sure we have 1, 2 flaps. No extras. Sorry about that. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out the little flap that goes inside the top of the box. Okay, and if you notice, it is along this part on the top. So let's turn that over. We're going to cut away this first little rectangle. Then this larger rectangle here is going to be that flap. Then we're going to cut away the rest of the rectangles on that row. Okay, so all we'll see on that top row, where that last row of rectangles is this one right here. So let me turn this over. Okay, last thing we need to do here is a little bit of wedging, just so these little tabs go in a little easier. And then we're ready. Okay, so before I build my box, I'm going to bring in my corner rounder. You guys know how I love my corner rounder. I'm going to fold it up, and on our little flap, the last portion that we created, I'm going to round those corners just like that. Okay, all right, we're ready to put our box together. Okay, I'm going to grab my glue, and I'm going to just put a little bit here along the left-hand side. I'm going to fold it over so that the outside is facing down now, and I fold it in the last panel over here. So then I can fold this over, and it lines up perfectly with the glue panel. So this is an easy way to make sure that your box is square, rather than trying to hold it up and try and get it in the right spot. Okay, now let's go ahead and close up the bottom. Remember, I always like to close up the large panel on the bottom last, that is facing the front of the box. Okay. Oh, did you get some, Renee? I know, isn't it awesome? It makes it so much easier, less mess. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back panel there and fold it over. Have to thank Mary Harshel for that. She was the gal that got me hooked. All right, so let me grab my bone folder and push down a little bit inside the box just to make sure that stays put. Okay, there is our bottom closed up. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my candies. Let's put our delicious Reese's right down in there. They fit perfectly down in there. Okay, then I'm going to, using my index fingers, I'm going to push in and pleat the sides of the box there. Okay, then I'm going to take my flap and tuck it in the front part of that pleat. Okay, so you're gonna push that through. Try that again. I think you might have to do this too. To get it to go in, you might need to trim a little bit along the edge if it's being difficult, just so it will go in a little better. Let's see how that works. So I closed and pinched, and now I'm going to fold this inside the front portion of that pleat right there. Okay, and then I'm going to push it down and pinch it closed farther and push again. So then it holds that pleat closed. Really easy. Okay, so that's the box. How easy is that? So with your 12 by 12 pieces, you can get 4 easily from your 12 by 12 pieces, and it's a very, very cost efficient. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and make our little embellishment for the front. I'm going to pull out some of my favorites. I'm going to bring the cute little trick-or-treater vampire. And this is a 2-inch circle using basic white card. And wait, I want to get myself a little paper to go underneath so I don't get anything on the table. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up with the Calypso Coral. I'm going to get him in the middle as best as I can. I love these little silhouettes. They're so cute. Now I pushed down a little too hard, so I'm going to try again. That's why I love having 2 sides to each piece of cardstock. The reason is I just inked up this guy, and he is mighty juicy, so I got to be a little extra careful. There we go. That looks much better. Okay, so there is our little Dracula. And now I'm going to bring in my Memento ink, and I'm going to let him dry a little bit. He's extra wet today. I'm going to take the cute little bats. It's a little stamp here. Oops. There we go. Okay. And there we go. And I thought I would just go ahead and kind of stamp it around the edges to add a little bit of scary Halloween. Oh, okay. I have no excuse for that one. Let's try again. That Memento ink is not juicy. I am just being a careless stamper tonight. Let's try again. All right, here we go. There is our Dracula. Achoo. All right. Then let's try our bats again. Just going to touch very, very gently so I don't get any of the edge of the stamp. There we go. I think I might have done it. There we go. All right. Now, just got to have some bats flying around him for effect. Then I'm going to take, using that same Memento ink, going to take my sentiment, Love at First Bite. Isn't that perfect for a box, treat box with peanut butter cups in it? Love at First Bite. Okay, let's put those away. That's all of my stamping. Now I'm going to bring in a basic black coordinating scallop. I'm going to grab my, thank you, Renee. Oh, I'll tell you, I don't know why I sneezed. I don't have a cold or anything. It just happened, but thank you anyway. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and put down, there we go. And I'm going to grab my box back, and I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my circle. There we go. Alrighty, now last thing, I'm going to grab some of my favorite stuff here, my gingham, black gingham ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a little bow at the top. This is extra. Don't have to do it. If you're making these for trick-or-treaters, I probably wouldn't, because that won't last long. They're going to tear this thing wide open as soon as they get it. So you might want to skip the bow, unless it's for a friend or a coworker. Yes to the bow then. All right, so let me cut off the little end here. There we go. Do a little bit of floofing. So you can decide which you like better. This is kind of the lighter gingham, and then we have the darker one here with the pumpkin pie color for the gingham. I like both of them. It really, really doesn't matter, and you can also bring in some of the black and white as well, but very cute little box, very easy to make. And you can really pump these out if you need them for your trick-or-treaters. So that is my tutorial for today. It was a quickie. And remember, I've got lots of other Halloween treat box ideas on my YouTube channel, even from years back. I was looking through those the other day. I've got tons and tons. If you're still looking for ideas, just search for the Wexford Stamper on YouTube, and then just go through and look for my Halloween series in September and October of every year. I've done these all, them all that time. Thank you, ladies, for watching. It was wonderful to have you here. So I will be seeing you next Tuesday. We are going to be moving away from Halloween, and I have a really cool card idea, and I can't wait to share it with you. And the technique I'm going to be using is called stack, cut, and shuffle. It's kind of like a dance step. So tune in next week, and I'll show you this great technique that you can make a whole stack of cards with just a few pieces of DSP and cardstock. So take care, have a great week, and stay dry, and I'll check you out next Tuesday. Keep on stamping, ladies. Bye-bye.